The biggest mistake that people make is failing to make a call to action, or in other words, extend an invitation for those who are following you or in the room with you to actually work with you. And if you can't make a call to action or extend an invitation, you're going to have a hard time growing your revenues. So Simone, curious to hear your take on why entrepreneurs hesitate to make the invitation. What's that costing them? And what are your recommendations for how people can get more comfortable making authentic offers?
I think that first of all, one of the reasons why entrepreneurs don't make offers or don't make call to actions comes from different reasons. One, sometimes they just don't know how to do it. So because they don't know how to, they just stuck. It's like, I don't know what
Yeah.
to do, so I don't do it at all.
Yeah.
Other times because they don't want to be perceived as pushy, they don't want to be perceived as salesy, they don't want to be perceived as deceiving their audience. Particularly if you're looking at the context of a presentation or a webinar, which is a tool that we both love. And we both use. There is this thing about always wanting to give value. I want my audience to have value. And sometimes there is this little thing inside their head that says, if I make that call to action, it's not valuable. And it can come just by looking at really bad examples sometimes.
Yeah. True. True.
Maybe you've been on a bunch of webinars and they're really bad. And people were hard selling. You felt like you wasted an entire hour or 90 minutes. And because you don't want to be like them, then you say, okay, I'm not going to do it at all. And I think for me, it took me 25 webinars before I made the first sale.
Wow, for someone like you who has your position and stature as an entrepreneur who helps other entrepreneurs, I just want to make note that, and thank you for normalizing the journey, right? So this isn't something that we're born with or something that you're expected to know overnight. This is a learned skill.
Absolutely. It's a learned skill. I mean, English is not even my first language. So if I think about how I started, first of all, I needed to make sure that people could actually understand what I was saying,
Yeah.
let alone the quality of what I was saying, but just make sure that they understood what I wanted to say. That was the first starting point. But ultimately, I didn't want to sound like a lot of the other bad examples that I saw. And it took me 25 webinars because I was trying to find my way. I was trying to find what is a way that feels good to me, that is natural, and at the same time brings me the revenues that I wanted, because I didn't want to compromise on my values. I always wanted people to come to my talks or to my webinars saying it was an hour well spent. That's
Yeah.
how I want them to feel. But at the same time, I also want them to say, wow, I got to work with this guy. And that has been my journey. And 25 webinars to try to figure things out. And that's where we found a good framework that's what we help our clients with, to find their best call to action, which is more aligned to their natural communication style.
Yeah.